What's up, YouTube? And I'm back at you in another video. And in this video, I'm going to do my prediction for the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Kentucky Wildcats. This potentially might be a battle of the East champion. Who's going to represent the East in the SEC? You got two undefeated teams, both of them 5-0. And you got the Georgia Bulldogs and Kirby Smart versus Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats. It's going to be a good matchup. Go ahead and get into the stats. I'm gonna go off and read off, Kentucky stats. They got Devin Leary at quarterback, and they since brought in Liam Cohen as their offensive coordinator. When he was there a couple of years ago, he's very, very good. Kentucky had a really, really good offense, and he since came back. And Devin Leary, he's thrown for 1,129 yards. He's thrown for 10 touchdowns, but he has 5 interceptions. He definitely wants to clean that up, and you definitely don't want to turn the ball over in this matchup against a very, very good Georgia defensive team. Very good. Kirby Smart does a phenomenal job with the defense each and every year, and Devin Leary got to do a better job of not turning the ball over. But he's done a phenomenal job for the Kentucky Wildcats so far. But on running back position, they got a dude, man, transfer from Vanderbilt. Very, very good player, and Ray Davis. I did a video some months ago about who I think will start at the running back position for each SEC team, and I put Ray on there. Ray Davis. This guy right here in his last matchup, man, he just ran all over Florida, man. He has 594 yards rushing on the season, and he has 8 touchdowns, and he's averaging 7.8 yards a carry. This dude is a beast. I mean, Kentucky always produced good running backs, but Ray Davis, man, just came in and just took over, man. Just ran all over Florida. Big, solid dude, a big bowling ball coming down, going north and south. He can jump it outside as well. Just very, very good. And Florida did not have an answer for this guy. And Georgia's going to have to be tasked with stopping his run. Georgia, this season, Georgia's known to be able to stop the run really, really well. This season, they have some chinks in their armor. They're not as good. They're still good, better than most teams. I'll just say that at stopping the run, but they're not at the elite level yet. And this season, Kentucky got a great run game. Kentucky had to replace some guys on the offensive line. Offensive line gave up a lot of sacks last season. Just wasn't really good last season. But this year, man, they got that run game going. And Ray Davis, Georgia better watch out for Ray Davis, man. He's very, very good at running that rock. Georgia's going to have to stop this guy. They also had Juton McClain. He has 116 yards and touchdown, but it's Ray Davis's run game. They got to be able to stop this guy. This dude is very, very lethal at the running back position. The wide receiver, Devin Leary been spreading the ball around, and that's what makes Kentucky a dangerous team to play against. Like I said, he has 5 interceptions, but he does get the ball out, and that's something Kentucky last season was struggling with at the wide receiver position, having guys, to pass the ball to. But Kentucky got some guys, man. Tavian Robinson, he's the leading receiver. He has 308 yards receiving. He has 3 touchdowns. He's their leading guy. This guy's all over the field. A very, very talented player. They got Barian Brown. He has 251 yards receiving and a touchdown. Dane Key, he has 2 touchdowns with 196 yards receiving. And then Ray Davis, man, he can catch the ball out the backfield. He has 146 yards receiving, and he has 3 touchdowns. So just a talented player in Ray Davis, but Tavian Robinson, definitely that guy at the wide receiver position, and Barian Brown. Kentucky's lethal, man. They got a good passing game, Devin Leary, but that run game sets everything up, and they just been unstoppable at running the ball this season. So They're very talented. And of course, defensively, Kentucky got some guys. They got Maxwell Hairston at DB. He has 33 tackles. He's the leading tackler on the team. Just typically like most the type of defense that Mark Stoops plays. Them safeties come up and DBs. They helping. Safeties helping the run game, stuff like that. But very, very talented defense. They was able to get after Florida's quarterback, Graham Mertz. They was just able to feast, man. And dare I say, Kentucky got a pretty decent defense, man. They're no slacks. Trevin Wallace at linebacker, he has 3.5 sacks, man. J.J. Weaver, he has 2 sacks. Kentucky has 14 sacks on the season, so they're no slouch. This is going to be a good matchup. And, of course, Maxwell Arsenal, he's the leading guy with 3 interceptions. So don't sleep on Kentucky's defense. Mark Stoops, ever since he's been there, Kentucky's always had a decent defense, always. And they just never really had the offense to go along, a passing offense to go along with their run game. This season, Devin Leary just been passing the ball around, like I said. Got at least 3 wide receivers with over 100 yards receiving on the season. And they got another great running back in Ray Davis to run that rock. So Kentucky's no slouch. So Georgia's going to have their hands full. But Kentucky is going to be going on the road to Athens. So it's going to be tough for Kentucky to play in that atmosphere. But they definitely got a squad. Georgia, Carson Beck is their starting quarterback this season. He's thrown for 1,497 yards. Coming off a great victory, in my opinion, against Auburn, on the road. That was their first matchup going on the road and was able to pull it out. And I'm going to mention what are the reasons why he was able to do that. Carson Beck, he's thrown for 7 touchdowns and got 2 interceptions. You can tell that he's learning, though. He's getting better with the game, He's getting more comfortable with the offense. And they have since got some guys back from injury. And those guys are going to greatly help that Georgia offense. The offense kind of sputtered a little bit like that. But like they found something in their last matchup against the Auburn Tigers. Running back Dajon Edwards, he has 260 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 5.1 yards a carry. Lethal guy at the running back position. Georgia always had great running backs, so that's just a given that they're really, really good at running the rock. Dylan Bell, he's a wide receiver, but he's second behind Dajon Edwards with just 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Roderick Robinson, second, he has 2 touchdowns with 89 yards. Kendall Milton, he has 96 yards and a touchdown. So Georgia's no slouch at, run the ball. We all know that they basically a running back factory over there with the Georgia Bulldogs. Receiver-wise, and this is what I was mentioning about Brock Bowers. Carson Beck. Brock Bowers at tight end, man. This guy just emerged in the Auburn game. Georgia's offense was struggling, but Brock Bowers, man, this guy is definitely one of the best, if not the best, player in college football right now. I mean, this guy is just ridiculous how he came back in that Auburn game. They could not stop this guy. And it's very similar to what Ray Davis did for Kentucky against Florida. Florida could not stop Ray Davis, and Auburn could not stop Brock Bowers, man. He has 413 yards receiving on the season with 3 touchdowns. When this guy is involved, man, when Georgia get this guy involved, it's a mixed match. I mean, he's just hard to bring down, and very, very talented guy. And as long as Georgia got this guy, man, they're going to be a problem, man. I mean, he's just a mismatch. They also have Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. He has 226 yards receiving with a touchdown. They also have another tight end, Oscar Delp. You haven't seen him too much, but he has a touchdown. He has 116 yards on the season. Rara Thomas, 167 yards. Hasn't received a touchdown. Transferred in from Mississippi State, but very, very talented wide receiver. Georgia definitely wants to get him involved. Dominic Lovett, 194 yards. These two guys don't have any touchdowns, but they got Muse. He has 102 yards and a touchdown. But even though Dominic Lovett and Rara Thomas don't have any touchdowns, don't let that fool you. They're very, very talented. And this Georgia receiving core is really, really, really good. I mean, they recruit at a very, very high level, and it's just a matter of who gets the ball. But Georgia is really, really good. Tackles on defense, are really, really good for Georgia. Very, very talented team. Smell Munden, he has 25 total tackles. He has 18 solo. I mean, this dude is just a beast. Has a sack on the season and a pass defended. I mean, Taki Smith, this guy, he's the second leading tackler on the team with 20 total tackles with 13 solo, sack, a pass defended. He also has 3 interceptions. This guy is a beast for Georgia, man. He's been there for a while, and he was there last season. But this year, he's just emerged. Malachi Starks, this guy was a freshman last season. Very, very talented guy. He has 2 interceptions and 4 pass defended. Dare I say, Georgia's secondary is really, really good this season, in my opinion. Last season, they kind of gave up some plays when they played, tougher teams. But I think their secondary is ahead, I think, at this point, ahead of the front seven. Front seven hasn't really they came alive in the last matchup, definitely against Auburn. That started to look like the Georgia defense that we have seen in the last 2 years. But Jamon Dumas Jr., guys like that, they stepped their game up against Auburn. Auburn could not, move the ball at first. They was able to run the ball, though, and that got to be concerned going into this matchup for the Georgia Bulldogs. Like I said, defensive line got to step it up and be able to stop the run, because Auburn was able to get some rushing yards on them last game. So, but that secondary, man, very, very good for Georgia. But it's going to be a great matchup. Georgia consistently put out a great defense every year. As long as Kirby Smart there, they're going to be good defensively. So I was looking at, total yardage stats for both teams. Kentucky, they're getting 396 yards a game. That's 225 through the air and 170 on the ground. That's pretty decent. They would like to get more than that, though. I know you got to be somewhere, I feel like, in the 400 range to 500 range to have a really, really elite offense. But Darren Leary has the ability to pass that ball around when he's comfortable, when he has time. And like I said, Kentucky's run game is really, really good, averaging 170 yards a game. That's ridiculous. That's well over, in my opinion, a good stat line is 150 yards a game. They're at 170. So the guys up front for Kentucky is doing a phenomenal job. Kentucky is allowing 297 yards to opponents, though. They're allowing 221 through the air, and they're only allowing 75 yards on the ground. So Kentucky is a really, really good run-stuffing team, and Georgia likes to run the ball, so something's got to give there. Can Kentucky contain Georgia's run game? That's going to be interesting going in this matchup. Georgia's getting 481 yards a game, and that's where I was saying, earlier, the 400, range, like 450 to 500 yard range is really, really good. And Georgia is a balanced offense. They're getting 332 through the air passing, and again 148.6 on the ground. So right just under that sweet spot at 150, but it's still good. Over 400 yards of offense. That's really, really good. Yards allowed, Georgia's only allowing 287 yards a game. That's very, very good defensively. They're only allowing 173 through the air, and they're allowing 113 on the ground. So Georgia is giving up more rushing yards than Kentucky is. Kentucky has a better run defense stat-wise compared to Georgia, but Georgia would like to, get that, rush yards down to opponents because, like I said, Auburn had some success running the ball against them. So And I looked at their last opponents that they played. Kentucky played Ball State, beating them 44-14. Beat EKU, small school, beat them 28-17. Beat Akron 35. I think that's Akron AKR. Beat them 35-3. Uh, Beat Vanderbilt 45-28. Vanderbilt put some points on Kentucky, so they would like to get that out. Do better than what they did in that matchup. Vanderbilt was able to put up 28 points on them, so I'm not sure if that was all in. The probably was spread out between different quarters, but still they gave up 28 to Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt is not the team the past where they were just at the bottom of the SEC. They still not as elite, but Vanderbilt has gotten better. But they still gave it 28 to Vanderbilt. And of course, Kentucky beat Florida 33-14. Florida was, didn't have an answer for Kentucky, and they just couldn't do anything offensively. But Florida doesn't have, in my opinion, an elite offense. So Georgia, they beat UT Martin 48-7. They beat Ball State, same team Kentucky beat. They beat them 45-3. So Georgia did a better job defensively than Kentucky did. Kentucky gave up 14 to Ball State. Georgia gave up 3. Georgia beat South Carolina 24-14. South Carolina was in that matchup, but the defense stepped up and shut, South Carolina's offense down. But Georgia was behind in that matchup for a very, very long time, but they was able to get out of there and win. So that's interesting. UAB, they beat them 49-21. Be honest, I didn't expect UAB to put up 21 points on Georgia, but I don't know. It probably was in garbage time. I didn't watch that game, so I can't tell you exactly what happened there. But I know Georgia fans didn't like that, giving up 21 points to UAB. Of course, the Auburn matchup, Georgia beat them 27-20. Georgia barely squeaked by Auburn. Playing at Auburn, playing in Jordan-Hare is a very, very tough place to play. And I just feel like if Auburn had some type of passing game, man, Auburn probably could have got the upset there. But Georgia does what they does. I predicted them to win that matchup, and I predicted them to run the ball, to get down there and win the matchup, and that's exactly what they did. They got physical in that second half against Auburn and pulled it out in a crucial fourth quarter. So they was able to get out of there with a victory, but I predicted them to win. I'm looking at the stat for the game for the prediction, and they currently have Georgia at -15 at the line. I think this is going to be a tough matchup. Georgia got, Kentucky at home. I'm picking Georgia to win this matchup. I think Georgia's going to step their game up with their rush defense. And in my opinion, I think Georgia probably thinking, that Ray Davis is just, their offense. They probably feel like if we stop the run against Kentucky and force Devin Leary to throw the ball down the field, they feel like they got. I feel like they got the better secondary out the two teams. That would be my recipe for Georgia to win this matchup. I got Georgia winning. I think they're going to stop the run, and they're going to force Devin Leary to throw the ball. And like I mentioned earlier, he has 5 interceptions against 10 touchdowns. He's shown that he's prone to make, mistakes throwing the ball. And like I mentioned earlier, Georgia has the better secondary. They're really, really good on the back end. And you don't want to do that against this Georgia team. And I think Georgia's going to have a problem running the ball at first, because Kentucky is really, really good at stopping the run. I think it's going to be a close matchup, though. But don't count Kentucky out. Kentucky, they're a pretty decent team this year, in my opinion. But I got Georgia winning. I think it's going to be a quality win for Georgia. Coming off of that, close victory against Auburn last season. I think last game. I think Georgia's going to come out ready. They're going to be dialed in. They're going to be at home. And they're going to want to try to prove to doubters wrong that even though they struggle offensively, I think they're going to put it all together in this matchup. They ain't going to come out slow. Defense going to stop that run for Kentucky. And Kentucky going to have a hard time moving the ball down the field. But What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.